team, I saved the Jaguars for last because I have a lot to say about the Jaguars. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I do have a lot to say about the Jaguars. So we're going to fire away. I already let Timmy go first twice, so Ryan looks like he's ready. Ryan, Jaguars, let's go.
Well, I mean, it's kind of, easy to predict at this point. I have them going third in the division. I do have them at 6-11, but they're actually the team that I have. I'm pretty set that they'll go 6-11, but they're the least surprising that if they did better than that. If they went 8-9, it wouldn't shock me in the slightest. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, is the best prospect we've seen as a quarterback since Andrew Luck coming out of Stanford in 2012. So he has that on his side. They finally made the upgrade at coaching. I do not believe that Doug Peterson is a long-term answer. That sounds weird because Doug Peterson's won a Super Bowl. But I do believe that he is there to do what he's going to do and get Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars back on track. They have two very good running backs now. James Robinson's obviously coming off the Achilles tear. Yep. Travis Etienne's coming off a Liz Frank injury. However, I think Travis Etienne got enough rest throughout the offseason and last year that he's going to be good to go. He's going to be effective. He's going to be reunited with his former Clemson quarterback. And I think James Robinson, honestly, I don't have high hopes for James Robinson this year. I genuinely think that he's going to struggle throughout the year. If you look at Cam Akers last year when he came back from his Achilles tear, he was terrible. Usually takes about a full year and a half to recover from an Achilles tear injury. So I think Robinson's going to be a little ineffective this year, but he could surprise me and prove me wrong. Adrian Peterson bounced back from his very nicely. As far as the defense goes, they didn't make any real upgrades on defense, and the wide receiver core is led by Christian Kirk, which, I mean, he could make a decent number 2, and he'd make a fantastic number 3. But if you're relying on a fantastic number 3 to be your number 1, you're going to struggle throughout the year. So I genuinely think that Travis Etienne has probably the highest chance, on the team to lead the team in receptions. But this wide receiver core is not going to do much for me. I do believe that they are a top 10 pick in the NFL draft next year, and I think Kayshon Boutte is on his way to Jacksonville.
Tim?
So I have them going 8-9. Like Ryan said, that it's predictable they could go that way. But like he mentioned, Doug Peterson already, Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne. I think Doug Peterson did a major upgrade from last year.
Well, yeah, Dallas. Yeah.
But listen, he took the Eagles to a Super Bowl in his second year, I think.
It's true.
And, he has the experience to do something with a young quarterback and a young running back, a young offensive line. He has the experience to do it with that. They signed Christian Kirk. I mean, Ryan already touched on that. Ryan beat me to everything. Let me say,
still make your argument. I mean, don't put your argument down. I want to hear why just because Ryan said stuff, I want to hear why you are putting them at that record. I don't care what Ryan said when I'm talking to you.
I mean, Travis Etienne coming back. We all know how good he is already. He's going to be the main back in the backfield, in my opinion. They're making the right moves for the future, basically. And they need 1 or 2 more draft picks to get them over that hump to be a playoff team, in my opinion. I gave you my record, right?
Yeah, you gave me 6-11. Or I'm sorry, you gave me 8-9.
Yeah, okay. And they signed Evan Ingram from the Giants. I think he has talent where people don't believe he does. He's underrated, in my opinion.
So I don't think in any way, shape, or form Evan Ingram is underrated. However, I do believe he's an upgraded tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, over O'Shaughnessy, yeah, I agree. I mean, he's just had problems with drops over the years. I mean, we've seen it as Eagles fans twice a year. Evan Ingram can't make a clutch catch to save his life. So,
yeah. Anything else to add, Tim?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So I've got the Jaguars going 7-10, but as Ryan pointed out, it would not surprise me at all if they go 8-9. Again, Doug Peterson here is the X factor. Huge upgrade over Urban Meyer. He understands what an NFL team actually needs, especially a young NFL team. As Timmy pointed out, took the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl in their second season with him as the head coach. And on that team happened to be Carson Wentz in his second year as a quarterback, Corey Clement his first year as a running back, Miles Sanders, I think, in his third year as a running back. Like these are players that are still actual. Well, I mean, Miles Sanders is still an Eagle, but that were young. He took a relatively young team to the Super Bowl, and I don't think he's going to do it again with the Jaguars. I'm glad I amended myself there really fast. He won't do it again with the Jaguars. However, I think the supporting cast in Jacksonville is almost as good as the supporting cast outside of wide receiver that the Eagles had in Philadelphia in 2016 when Doug Peterson was signed as the head coach. It's a team that's not that far off from being successful. So again, Doug Peterson here is the X factor for me. Trevor Lawrence, as Ryan pointed out, has that number 1 overall draft pick, best since Luck came out in his draft. And again, ETN healthy, Robinson supposed to be healthy, and you're hoping that Laviska Shenault can step up. Christian Kirk can be better, even though he got a $20 million a year contract.
Ridiculous contract.
It exploded the market for every other wide receiver this season. We'll get into that in another show where we've already covered it. We'll do it again. Who cares? I think the Jaguars are competitive. I think they'll be more competitive than the Houston Texans are. And as such, I think some of these losses that the Colts and Texans take, I think one each of them are in fact the Jaguars. So give me the Jaguars at 7-10, but it would not surprise me for them to go to 8-9.
Now, I mean, like I said, with the Texans, where they don't have the luxury of the fourth place schedules because the Jags do. So they are playing the Browns without Deshaun Watson. I believe without Deshaun Watson. I don't know what week they play. They are playing the Jets. They are playing the weaker teams. They are playing the Broncos, I think, finished in last place, which I mean, the AFC West is just going to be unbelievable anyway. So they are playing the last place teams, and that is going to benefit them greatly. Yeah,
you're 100% right.
We switch into the NFC?
Yeah, you want to switch the background for me, please?
Yeah. I got you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, buddy.
All right.
Here we go. Ta-da.
A lot of love. We are going to do, let's see, what order we're going to save the Buccaneers for last.
Save the best for last.
Okay, well, in that
Everybody
case.
has them in first place, right? We're not going to disagree on that.
Buccaneers in first place, yes. I think we'll disagree on the record, though.
All right. Actually, let me ask y'all this before we get into it. If Tom Brady didn't come back, would y'all still have the Buccaneers in first place?
Yes. Timmy, you're muted.
Yep, there it is. Timmy's muted.
And he muted himself, so I can't even fix it.
I think it depends on the quarterback.
Okay,
Kyle
so you
Trask.
Who?
Kyle Trask. He would be the starter.
I don't know too much about Kyle Trask, so I can't give that definite answer.
This is another division that seems pretty split in half. Like, you know who 1 and 2 is and you know who 3 and 4 is. I think there's a bit more debate on who 3 and 4 are than who's 1 and 2, though.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We're
going to do the Buccaneers last because obviously we all have them in first place, especially since Tom Brady came back. So we're going to start with the Falcons. I'm going to start with the Falcons.
Okay.
I'm going to start with the Falcons.
Why?
Why not?
I guess losers go first. That's fair.
That's fine. Save the best for last. We'll let Timmy go last. So I think the Falcons are at the bottom of this division. We're going first with them. I'm going to say they're last in this division. They get 5 wins this season, 5-12. They finally committed to a rebuild. Matt Ryan is no longer the quarterback there. They did last year's draft Kyle Pitts, who was an absolutely freak of nature at tight end. I'll put that in parentheses because he's a huge wide receiver playing tight end. He's in his second year. Drake London was drafted this past draft. I believe Drake London will be a good wide receiver. They did draft Desmond Ritter. Desmond Ritter? Is that his name, right? Desmond Ritter. I don't have a whole lot of faith that he will ever be a starting quarterback in the NFL, so that doesn't really bother me at all in any way, shape, or form. But Marcus Mariota is here. He's played really well the last couple seasons in the few opportunities he's gotten, and he's reunited with the coach who gave him his best statistical year in Tennessee here in Atlanta. So I believe that they play better than people think they're going to play. However, they only win 5 games. They go 5-12 for me. Tim.
Okay. So they signed Mariota in the offseason. I mean, he was the second overall pick in, I think, 2016. No, it was 2015, right? But he was still a second overall pick. He has the talent. He has that talent. They didn't really upgrade in wide receiver area. They actually downgraded because they lost Whitley. That's one for I see this.
Yeah, but I'm not counting a suspension as losing a wide receiver. Like, it's unfortunate that he got suspended, and we can debate the suspension severity because of the Deshaun Watson situation. However, he did something he knew he wasn't supposed to be doing. He got suspended.
Plus, he hasn't played in 2 years. Essentially, he didn't really play last year either.
True. They drafted Drake London, who is arguably one of the best out of the draft class. Him and Kyle Pitts both had the most upside in that offense right now. They have to build around them, and I think they're going to be last in the division at 3-14, losing a lot of close games.
3-14, 3 wins.
I got them at the same record, buddy. 3-14. This is my number 1 overall pick team going.
They are my number 1 overall pick. Yeah,
they are terrible. They are a run-first team with no running backs or offensive line or a defense to help them out. They're a team with 2 good pass catchers that don't have a good quarterback to throw to either of them. They're outside of Drake London and Kyle Pitts. There are holes. This team is Swiss cheese. There's just holes everywhere. I mean,
don't forget the offensive line.
The Falcons allowed the 4th most points in the NFL last year and didn't do anything to fix the defense. Marcus Mariota is obviously a downgrade over Matt Ryan, and they were still terrible last year. So this team is so confusing. Yes, we touched on, Calvin Ridley is not going to be a part of the team this year. I don't think Calvin Ridley is ever going to suit up for the Falcons again, so he's kind of irrelevant to talk about with the Falcons. Drake London's not going to be able to get his. Kyle Pitts, will be Kyle Pitts. As far as tight end production goes, he'll produce amongst his peers, but this team's an embarrassment. They're going to lose not a lot of close games. They're going to lose a lot of 2-score-plus games. In my opinion, this is easily the worst built team in the NFL. This is easily the worst roster. Desmond Ridder might get his chance later in the season. However, C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young is going to be the starting quarterback for that team going into 2023.
Yes.
To me, outside of Kenny Pickett, none of the quarterbacks drafted in this draft class have any potential to start more than 1 full NFL season. They're terrible. There's nothing else really to say about it. They are 3-14, and it wouldn't shock me if they didn't even win 3 games.
I'm with you on that one.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's do the Panthers next. Tim, I'm gonna let you lead off with the Panthers.
Well, everyone knows I'm a huge CMC fan, and he's coming back healthy. He asked a lot of retired NFL running backs what they did to stay healthy last season, and they all gave him all different opinions. But the main concern was don't play in preseason. So I think he's going to be healthy. I think he's going to get all the carries again. But he is going to end up getting hurt because no one else is going to take the ball from him. They got DJ Moore, who had upside to be wide receiver 1 potential in fantasy this year. Me and Ryan argued about that a million times. Baker Mayfield, the better quarterback than Sam Darnold, obviously. The offensive line is mediocre, the bottom tier from what I read this year. The defense, they lost. The Eagles signed them, right?
Yeah, I made a mistake when I said the Titans let Hassan Reddick go. It wasn't the Titans; it was the Panthers. That's my bad.
Okay, so yeah, they lost a key part of the defense to the Eagles, which I love. But I have them going 8-9 and 3rd in the division.
Bill, are you going to go, or do you want me to go?
No, you can go. I'll go last for the last 3 teams.
All right, so for me, I got them going 7-10, 3rd in the division. I do somehow, unfathomably, Baker Mayfield is a quarterback upgrade, which is funny because somehow, unfathomably, Sam Darnold was a quarterback upgrade, and obviously that experiment went south really quickly. But yeah, I think 7-10, 8-9. I think that's right about where they'll sit. They have a lot of great pieces on offense. DJ Moore's a fantastic possession receiver, runs great routes, super talented, just hasn't had the best quarterback situations thrown him the football. He's got the best one that he's had in his career this year. And obviously Christian McCaffrey is the most dynamic weapon arguably in football. But it's just all about health. As Tim has alluded to already, he's reached out to Marshall Faulk in the offseason, who was also, a very dynamic weapon in the NFL, the greatest show on turf when he was playing in his time. and reach out to him. Hey, how do you stay healthy? Taking the workload that you do. So he's obviously sat out all of preseason, as Tim has also alluded to. And I expect, 15 to 17 games from Christian